Well, this is episode 368 of the 3 Point Podcast and our partner pod. And one of our great partners, Memorial Healthcare's Wellness Center, voted Mid-Michigan's best health club gym for 2025. Also want to thank our other partners. They include AZee Branding Solutions, Jacobs Insurance Agency, Kori and Associates Real Estate Services, Nelson House Funeral Homes, Rivals Taphouse and Grille, Success Group Mortgage and Servicing, Shiawassee County Fair, and ALS of Michigan. Speaking of our partners, we're going to be talking with three of them here tonight, see what's new with them, maybe talk a little sports with them as well. But let's play a little catch up here, guys, as we always do. I got to tell you, man, things have been really busy in my world. I don't know about you guys. I know it's just been crazy. It's been a fun summer, but there's a lot going on. I just come off my birthday on 7-11. I'm in the bottom of the sixth inning, 2 outs, 3-2 count, heading to that seventh. If you know what that stands for, right?
Yeah.
70's looking me in the eye nowadays, but I'm not there yet. But I will say this. We had a great weekend down in Detroit on Saturday. Went to the Tiger game. It was my nephew Casey's final fling before getting married. It was a pedal bar excursion and a Tiger game. I felt really good that his dad and the uncles got to be a good part of it. It was fun. It was a good day, wasn't it, Jerry?
Oh, it was a blast. It was, selfishly, I think you guys are all a good time. We got a good family. I'll brag, I guess, about that. Whereas I think my buddies and, Casey's buddies, they enjoyed you guys being around as well. But I'm just thinking about it from my point of view, Casey's point of view, my brother Johnny's point of view, who was there as well. It's that was an awesome gathering of our friends along with our family. And that's just maybe it's a good time when you leave and you go, we got to do that again next year. We need to make that a tradition. A pedal bar. We already have the tradition to go to the Comerica Park game. I'm not gonna lie, the game was a drag compared to that pedal bar. We should have just, for the cost we spent on those tickets, man, I would have been better off maybe just another 2 hours on that pedal bar and keep going around.
Yeah.
It was a freaking good time. The pedal bar, that's my first time on one. Honestly, when initially got pitched, 6 months ago, whenever this party started forming, I was like, let's not do that. Those are so lame. They look horrible. We're gonna be sweating. We're exercising. It's not even fun. Then you get on the actual pedal bar and you start pedaling, and you realize that this pedal has no connection to the engine or anything at all. It's not even a pedal bar. I don't even know why they put the pedals on there, to be honest. But it was freaking awesome. What was weird about us going to that game is we got out, and if anybody was getting ready to watch the game on Saturday, you probably were very confused. Yeah. Beautiful sunny day, not a cloud in the sky. We're about to walk into the stadium, and they go, the game's in a delay. What? The game's in a delay? Mind you, we haven't been on our phones. We've just been drinking and bar hopping and all that sort of stuff, pedaling away. The game's delayed. When you know it, an hour and a half later, the biggest monsoon storm I've ever seen went through Detroit. And from my understanding, you were we never did really get the full story. You were stranded out there. Am I wrong?
Well, yeah, here's what happened. So I went into the stadium. My brothers did. My nephew Ryan, and we all met at the Miller Lite area. And a little one criticism of Comerica, we've talked about it before, is the lack of shade. In that area, they need pavilions or something to give you some shade over those nice, comfortable outdoor chairs they have, right?
They do.
So we're sitting in the sun.
Or something.
Yeah, we're sitting in the sun just baking, and all of a sudden we hear the delay. So I said to the boys, well, I'm going to join the guys over at the Tin Roof.
Sorry to cut it, but that's what was funny is you guys must have booked it off the pedal bar within 2 seconds because we knew it was delayed within 3 minutes of getting off that pedal bar.
Right.
And you guys were in there and you guys were texting us, trying to get us to come in. We knew it was hell in there. One, we were about to get rained on. Two, there was no start time in sight. Nobody knew when this game was even going to start. So you guys could have been stranded there for a few hours. So I felt kind of bad, but you guys were the ones that booked into the stadium, so you kind of got left behind. But you had the media pass, so you were able to.
I was able to go in and out, so I left.
Media pass.
I left right there next to the Tin Roof. I said to the usher, I says, "Hey man, can I get back in?" No. And then he looked at my media pass. And said, "Oh yeah, I'll just come in, come back in, right?" So I go out to catch up with you guys. 3 people in front of me, they shut the door down. They said we're at capacity, wouldn't let me in. So then I started to go back to the game. That's when the monsoon hit. I would have been completely drenched. So I hopped under one of those pavilions right there in the outdoor part and hung out there for a while. But all in all, good day. It was a good day.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was gonna say you sent a picture and it looked like a sunny day, and so I was at work, and so I turned the game on to watch, and it was in a weather delay. I was like, "Is this a different?" Like I was starting to think, like, "Is this little party they're doing? Was it a different day, or like what?" You know, I was like, "What's going on?" Because the pictures was like beautiful sunshine summer day, but Comerica weather delay, and we're hearing Andy Dirks and I think it was Dickerson that day. It wasn't
Yeah,
Benetti
it
talking.
was.
And I was like, what is going on right now? But no, those pedal bars, they're fun. I've done one a few times. I did one a while ago, probably like when it was a new thing, when you literally did have to pedal.
Right.
I mean, you had to pedal. So this was like when it first came out.
Yeah.
The people had the idea, let's have this bar on a bike and make the people pedal. And, you know, that probably lasted for a year or two. And then it was like, this is a stupid idea. These people are not going to pedal while they're drinking. We're just going to be stuck at the bottom of the hill. So then they, you know, they've obviously upgraded them to what you guys rode this past weekend, where sure, you put the pedals on, you make it seem like that's what you have to do, but no, it's motorized. Like you're not relying on those people pedaling.
What was nice too, I mean, you know, you had your driver who was a cool dude, you know, and he was part of the game, Tom, yeah. But you brought your own. We brought a couple coolers on there, and then we had a couple bars we stopped at. And I agree with you guys. If we would have had a pedal, I was not looking forward to that. I wasn't gonna pedal. I knew I wasn't gonna pedal. But
well, you went right to the back bench where there is no pedaling even potentially required. No, it was a great party, man. And what was the funniest part is, one, you deal with like a 2-day, it's almost like you just had a child or something. It's like a postpartum depression every time I go on one of these trips or parties, which, by the way, I mean, would you say the destination bachelor party, do you see the appeal of it after spending that day?
Okay. I almost wouldn't classify this as a destination.
I was going to say a drive to Detroit.
Right. I mean, you guys maybe, because you stayed what, 2 nights in a hotel, or do you stay at your place?
We stayed at MGM, which was awesome. I mean, that was what led to a crash at about 8 p.m. the Saturday night after the game, and also during the game. I seriously think we had like 5 or 6 different guys fall asleep in our group during the game. It was the most boring game of all time. Am I wrong with that, Ted? Was that not just like
I couldn't pay? Yeah, I couldn't pay attention to anything that was going on other than I'd look up. There's another Mariner home run going over the right field wall. They
scored 80 runs this series. If it really did feel like it.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. How the Tigers have finished limping into the All-Star break, but no, that's one thing. The tailgating, like if it's a tailgate for every sport basically, but like when it's a bachelor party level of tailgating before a baseball game is much different than before a football game. Football games the energy is just so much different, especially if it's a college football game. You know, you go into the game and it amps up. It's nothing against baseball. We all love baseball, but when you party like that and then go to a baseball game, especially after a weather delay, yeah, that does by about 4th or 5th inning, you're starting to be like, oh man, I'm losing my buzz, and I'm not going to buy a $18 beer right now to keep this thing going. So yep, I'm gonna catch a nap from about 3rd inning to 8th inning. Wake me up when we're ready to go.
True fact, man. True fact.
No, that's fun though. It's fun too. Like you guys mentioned, like the generations of family or whatever at the party. It is cool when you get to that age where like everyone can hang out, because obviously at first, like if Jared, you were 6 years old, you wouldn't be on that pedal bar. So, now that you're older, everyone can join in and stuff. It is kind of cool to hang out with your, older uncles and, other nephews and stuff like that, and your dad and stuff like that, so it is fun doing stuff like that.
And we did go to a Tiger game, so let's briefly talk about the Tigers. Is there any concern? I know, Jared, you talked about it a couple pods ago that you're worried about the end of the season, and right now they head to the All-Star break on a 4-game losing streak, and pitching seems to be letting them down a little bit right now. You think there's anything to worry about, or you think they come back from the All-Star break and keep going? I mean, they have a heck of a lead, 11 and a half games.
It's such a bummer when you have a letdown right before the All-Star break. That was brutal. The Mariners, it just seemed like it was almost like they were like the Houston Astros and they had our signs or something. They had our number. I mean, they averaged 11 and a half runs per game in the 3-game series, just were bludgeoning us. The bullpen is the problem. which is crazy to say given where we were at not even a year ago, where we were the best bullpen in baseball, and that was the strength of the team, and that was what was winning us playoff series. Now it's 30th in the league, I believe. Basically across all statistical categories. I don't know who you trust with the game on the line. I love Will Vest. Will Vest has been pretty damn good all year. Canley has had a little bit of a shakier last few weeks. Yeah. He's got a weird routine where he shaves all of his body hair off after he gives up a run. In other words, you just like your body being shaved. I mean, what are we talking about? You give him a run like every few starts. But yeah, I'm a little concerned. To me, it's all about peaking at the right time, and that's what we saw last year. It's just the belief, the magic. Everybody was playing so well at the end of the year, but right now they're in a little bit of a lull. But it's still crazy when it feels like they've been lulling for a week, and yet you look at the standings and their record. It's like still a great record and still the best team in baseball. So it's
commanding.
How much can you complain? But man, it seems like that was just a really bad series. Obviously.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems like more of a bad series. I mean, we've been talking about the pitching issues, and I've definitely been talking about the starting pitching. I think most people see they need to do something there. I mean, Casey Mize making the All-Star game, that's a bright spot. But personally, if he's going to be your number two, because Jack Flaherty hasn't turned it around, if Casey Mize is your number two, just because of injury history and everything like that, I don't know if you want to rely on that. You're hoping that Jack Flaherty, maybe the All-Star break, he can get away, kind of reset a little bit, but they're going to have to do something with pitching, like you said, with the bullpen. But you talk about peaking at the right time. It is only mid-July, and they have an 11.5 game lead in the Central. So as long as they keep that lead in the Central, above 6-7 games where, it can't slip away in one series, I'm feeling all right. But I think it's obvious they need to do something, and hopefully they're buyers. I mean, at the trade dedeadline. I mean, I hope they see that this is a legitimate team. This isn't just a little flash in the pan. Go add a veteran back. Go get a couple guys for the bullpen, because you can make a run at this thing before Tarek Skubal goes and takes money from the Yankees or the Dodgers or something like that. Like, go try to win one while you have Tarek Skubal. But you've seen. I don't know if you guys have seen these. 84. Obviously, we know what happened in 1984. Mm-hmm. Got swept by the Mariners in 1984. Also in 1984, they went in the All-Star break on a 4 or 5 game losing streak that year too. So this isn't the end of the world. Now, if we're heading into August and it's still kind of starting to look like this, then we might start saying like, all right, what's going on? But no, I'm not overly worried at this point.
Yeah, unless their pitching completely falls apart, all they have to do is play 500 ball the rest of the way, and they're 20 games over 500, right?
And also, I mean, even exactly agreed. And also, it's like, I mean, as long as these guys like Baez, Torres, Green, I mean, the way they're playing right now, it's like, even with this terrible pitching, like, you just get a couple of big arms, like you said, Matt. Like, just, it doesn't need to be complete total game changers, but just solid, reliable guys. Like, it seems like they're not far away. As crazy as it sounds, it seems like they're not far away from being, another 5 or 6 games higher than where they are in the standings right now. So it's just. It's such a long season that you can't live and die on every series, which I kind of did because, by the way, every game I go to is a blowout. We get blown out every time. Maybe that's why. But to be honest, you take it game by game and you feel good about where they're at. But I'll be honest, I could see a scenario for 6-7 games up on the Guardians or whatever. Maybe we have a Guardians series. And then once that pressure swings in baseball, we saw it last year where we just were shooting up the standings and teams were just imploding at the end of the year. Like you said, Matt, it starts getting a little dicey once it's around 6-7 games. If we keep, I'm not going to be nervous at all until it's 5 games or 6. As long as we keep right where we're at, obviously, I'm going to feel fine.
Amen. Well, we're mid-July, and it's the All-Star break, so Tigers finish it off strong and get set for the playoffs. That's about all that's going on in sports right now. We had a pretty decent Wimbledon. I don't know if you guys saw that. Sinner looked really good in that final against Alcaraz. But really, right now we're at that kind of lull spot in sports, really, when you think about it. So,
man, I don't know. NBA Summer League is pretty hot. WNBA is pretty hot.
Okay.
I love
a little bit of WNBA.
Yeah, people tell me I'm an idiot whenever I talk about it.
For sure.
But no,
WNBA has more drama. If there's a league that you could think has more drama than the NBA, which the NBA is all drama, the WNBA has more drama than the NBA, and it's pretty wild to think about.
It's just
but the games are entertaining if you want to turn them on.
And there's a new Caitlin Clark take every week. Like this week, it's like, oh, they're better without her than they are with her. It's like, no, they aren't. They really aren't. But yeah, no. I mean, I'm just still getting my bearings about me. I mean, I didn't even mention this, but there was at one point I didn't get back to my hotel room till like 4 a.m. on Friday. I got lost in MGM. I've never been to a Detroit casino. I've only ever been to Soaring Eagle, which is still a nice casino, but it was a game changer being in MGM. They make those places a maze. And you add in a few brewskis, maybe more than a few. Like, I'm not kidding you. I was Jack Nicholson in The Shining, just going through the maze like for an hour. Everybody was upstairs, and what was a bummer about it, I felt like a jerk. Not to go on a tangent, but I felt like a jerk because like my buddies and they're all trying to help me, like trying to find me and calling me, and like it got to the point where I kept answering and like we're trying to coordinate where I was at. I was like not really speaking English. I'm like, you guys just can't help me. I just got to figure this out on my own. And the thing that's like kind of annoying with MGM, but I appreciate it for the security, is you need a card to go anywhere. You need a card to start the elevator. You need a card to even get into the hotel wing. You need a card to get off on your floor. So I didn't have a card. So it was like I'm not kidding. After about an hour of roaming, I was about done. I somehow ended up in the parking garage on that elevator, but it all ended up working out. But you understand why those places are addicting. Everything about them is engineered to keep you there. The lights, the music, the free coffee, the free drinks, the fact that it's literally a maze. Like I finally figured it out like by Sunday morning when we were leaving, like how you even navigate that place.
The oxygen that they're pumping in there too. That's, it's everything.
Right.
They got you.
Wow. Well, quite a day for sure. Hey, before we get to our special guest, a couple reviews, guys. People have said before I don't give fresh reviews. Well, I saw Superman on opening day.
That was a subtle jab.
Subtle jab?
I mean, subtle. I made that comment at one point. No, I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually really looking forward to this review. I can't wait to see this movie. I'm at the point on X where it's getting targeted to me, everything about it. So I got to see it soon.
I would say for a superhero movie and for a summer type of blockbuster movie that you want to go to the movie theater to watch, solid. It was very solid. I mean, the guy that played Superman, David Corenswet, never heard of him before, but he had a perfect take on Superman. Rachel Brosnahan, who was Lois Lane, she I really like her. She was in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I don't know if you ever heard of that show, but she played a really good Lois Lane. I have only one complaint on the movie. Otherwise, it's a solid 2.75. But do you know who Nathan Fillion is? He plays on TV. He's the Rookie. Anyway, he played the Green Lantern, and I'll post something on X of how he looked in this movie compared to the comic character, the Green Lantern. It was so hard to watch. First of all, I think he's too old. I think he's too old for that part. And then they had him in this most god awful blonde bowl cut. I mean, it was just unbelievable.
I guess was that the point? Like, was he supposed to be like comedic relief almost, or
kinda? I guess but it was just every time I watched him, it was just hard to watch. So that was my only real complaint. Other than that, I would give it a good review, man. It was a good movie, a good Superman flick, and it had a good plot, had a couple twists in it that you're gonna want to stay tuned for. So definitely go check it out. And I didn't know it was available in some screens in 3D. That'd be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
From my understanding, is it's a little bit more like positive, happy than the Man of Steel movies from like the mid 2010s. Is that fair to say? Like it was just a feel good.
Yeah, feel good, and also kind of tied into some of the things that are going on in the world. Like I won't give away the plot, but he was involved in something with a foreign country stopping a war. That's part of the plot. And then there's the side twist to that. But I thought it was well done, and I really haven't seen much of what James Gunn has done, but apparently quite a director and writer. He has a different take on how he produces a movie.
Right. I can't wait to see it. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, Superman seems like to me like he really had a grasp on your generation. Is that fair to say?
Totally fair. Superman and Batman. Those were the two go-tos. Marvel came out, but I was DC Comics all the way being a kid.
Yeah.
Now it would be interesting to hear what people think of this movie that are, and I don't want to use this term derogatory, but comic book nerds. I wonder how this kind of stacks up. You know what I mean? true to the book.
I
True
think
to
people
the
are liking it. I think it's. I mean, if you watch those Henry Cavill Supermans, like it was like, what are we like? This is like some weird drama. The whole world is dark.
right.
It just is like that's not Superman. So even just telling from the trailers, like you could tell, like this guy's a happy guy. He's like a good guy. Like
Real good guy.
that's Superman. Like it's a heart of gold, and
Yeah.
obviously.
Kind of back to the Christopher Reeve thing, really. It was
right.
It was really good. And then one final thing I just want to throw out here. It's for ESPN product, Matt. Did you see Southpaw, the Jim Abbott story, the E60? It was.
I did see that. Yep.
It was really good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I thought the way they put it together they went on his no hitter, but they mixed in between innings on the no hitter and him talking about it. Basically his life story. I thought it was really, really well done. Probably should win an Emmy.
I'm surprised there hasn't been more stuff on Jim Abbott. It's a really unique story. I mean, obviously the physical stuff, everything he had to go through, but he was also a really good pitcher.
Really good.
Yeah, he was also really good, so it wasn't just like some, sob story about him getting to that level. It was like, no, he's one of the, I don't know if you would put him as one of the best pitchers ever, but he's definitely up there as, no hitter, perfect game, or
no hitter for sure.
No hitter. He didn't throw a perfect game, but the no hitter. So
right.
Yeah, it's really good. Anything E60 is, it's going to be well produced.
3.0 on the 3-point podcast scale for that. I really enjoyed it.
Was he born without a hand? Is that how that happened?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just, give me the, I guess, what's the small, I definitely going to check it out. He just like said, he just is a committed guy. I'm going to become the best like baseball pitcher there is. Like you're kind of right. It's like, how is there not more on this guy?
Right. Yeah. He totally dedicated himself to learn how to do it, man. And he talked about it. There was this big brick wall in this apartment complex they lived in. He went out there and just threw the ball against the wall and figured out how to do the quick exchange with his glove.
It's amazing.
Right. And he was a stud, man. I mean, he was a hell of a pitcher. Heck, he played high school football. He was
football
for Flint Central.
Yep. I mean, I think he obviously he pitched at Michigan, but I think he was recruited for football also, but obviously not as much as baseball. Yeah. So I mean, it's not like he was just some he wasn't just some sentimental little like cute story or whatever.
One thing I didn't even realize, Matt, was he was the college baseball player of the year.
Right.
He was the best baseball player of his, I think it was his junior year or sophomore year, whatever. He stayed 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And he was named, I think, the Maxwell Award winner as the best college athlete that year.
Yeah.
And then he was drafted by the Angels. Never went to the minors, went right to the Angels.
Straight to the Angels. I mean, pitched for the Yankees, has the no-hitter. Right. Yeah, so, I mean, this guy, it is crazy it took this long to get one of these stories, these documentaries.
Yeah. So definitely check it out, Jared, and any of our listeners out there that haven't seen it, check it out. It's on ESPN, ESPN Plus, E60, the Jim Abbott story, Southpaw. All right, well, let's take a break, and let's get to our first podcast partner here on 3-Point Podcast. Well, we're excited to join another one of our great partners. In fact, our title partner, Memorial Healthcare's Wellness Center. And we have Sarah McNamara, our programming and wellness manager out there. And Sarah, first of all, welcome to the podcast once again. And second of all, how many years now has the Wellness Center been open? It seems like it's been flying by.
Yeah, we're going into our 3rd year. So we opened in 22. Things are going great. So it's really has flown by.
Well, this is kind of off the wall question before we maybe get into more wellness center specific stuff. What's your favorite type of workout music?
What's on the playlist? Yeah, what's on the playlist?
Oh man. For me, it's mostly honestly pop and country. I know a lot of people like rap and things like that, but that's what I gravitate towards. It just like an upbeat, something to keep me moving. So that's my preference. What about you?
Everything. I kind of brag that I'm like a musical chameleon. I sound like a jerk when I say that, but I'll be honest, like Taylor Swift. I like Taylor Swift sometimes. Yeah. I saw on Twitter a couple days ago that some people will listen to like themes of like movies like Batman or something like that. Right. So I might have to try that at some point this week. Something I've noticed online for you guys, and obviously when I've been there working out myself, is you guys do a great job of filling up your classes. The schedule, it blows me away, and there's a lot of stuff that I've never heard of before. There's like some pretty interesting stuff for all different types of levels of fitness. To anybody who might be listening, is there a certain class that you would really suggest that the members really seem to appreciate, or maybe even a couple trainers that do a very good job?
Oh yeah, for sure. So thanks for recognizing that. We do have a really big variety of class offerings at the Wellness Center. I think that's one of the biggest things that sets us apart, and the fact that our classes are included in our membership price monthly. So unlimited access to all of the classes,
Awesome.
all of the land classes, and then a handful of our aquatics classes too. I would say definitely anything aquatics is hugely popular at the Wellness Center. You just can't beat the therapy pool. It's warm, and there's a good variety of class in there, whether you're looking for something that's super low impact or that low impact with like an upbeat vibe to it.
Right.
Lots of options there. I would say for our land classes that are up in the 3 different classrooms that we have, our strength training classes. So we have a barbell class that Selena offers. That's super popular. Tyler is one of our instructors. He is there early morning, 5:30 a.m. Tuesdays and Fridays. That's a circuit class that he offers. So it's a mix of strength and different circuit movements. That's really popular. And then we have other classes like Pilates, and Robin does a step class along with Pilates, and those are typically very full. So those are a handful of the most popular classes, but I think it just goes to show the different variety that we have. And then our chair classes, in addition to that, for all levels of fitness, are always packed too. So yeah, there's something
That's
for
my
everybody.
age group right there. Hey, before you jump in, Matt, I just had to throw a sidebar in there. Matt or Jared's talking about playlist, and my sister has been a regular goer out there, and I think she has her own playlist they have lined up for Jenny from the block. So shout out to her. But she does participate in all those classes that are included with the membership, and it's just an awesome thing.
Yeah, I mean, social media kind of exposes some people in their playlist. It's kind of become a funny thing. Like, it's kind of become a joke. You see these people that are working out, but then maybe they're listening to Taylor Swift, or they're still listening to NSYNC or something like that. It really, whatever gets you going. I mean,
exactly.
Some people, whether you're biking, running, you kind of want something that you can go to the beat. So whether that's like movie themes or, like house music, dance music, I just think it's funny when you hear what people listen to, whatever's on their playlist. You were talking about all the classes, and your guys' Facebook page and social media always does a good job of highlighting and showing all the variety of classes. And I think that's become such a big thing. And I was going to ask if you can speak to that, how that's become such a big thing, maybe even more so post-COVID, because obviously COVID, you were kind of stuck in your house trying to figure out what the heck you were going to do, looking up workouts on YouTube, or, trying to get outside if you could. I think maybe since then, with everything's, for the most part back to normal or whatever, people are enjoying getting together and the community aspect of going to a class. I think some people can go to the gym, get a workout in on their own, but not everyone can do that. They need that push from the person next to them, or maybe they make some friends that hold them accountable. Can you just maybe speak to that, and maybe what you guys have seen in the growth of classes maybe in the last 4 or 5 years?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So when we opened the Wellness Center, right, we were just kind of coming out of COVID. I remember Danielle and I, when we were putting the team together to the workforce for the Wellness Center, I mean, we were doing interviews still with masks on, like social distancing. The building was still studs. We were still figuring out, like, how are we going to navigate post-COVID with those exact things in mind, that there are people that are still nervous to come into a group setting. But over time, the Wellness Center has really proven to be a community gathering place. And for some, it's more that than coming in to get their workout done. And we love it. That's fantastic, because the mental health aspect of that community bond is wellness too. So if that's what brings people together, or if they're coming into the building to head to Wellness Eats and get coffee or something, we support all of those different areas that the Wellness Center has to offer. Group fitness classes, 100%. They are packed for a reason, because there is something extra motivating and accountability in that area of meeting up with that trainer, meeting your friend at class. And I would say the Wellness Center has grown largely from classes and from that like friend to friend. Yeah, thank you. I was like, couldn't grab the word. Yeah, word of mouth that has spread, because truthfully, our social media has all, for the most part, up until, within this last year, been done internally. So having done that between myself and members on my team that have done an awesome job, for sure, in the last few months, absolutely. Word of mouth has been the biggest driver for the wellness center, and we found traction, of course, on social media once we kind of figured out what the market was looking for, what the audience is interested in, and we find a lot of features of our staff is really engaging for the community. So we like to have fun with that, and then also just bring as much awareness as we can and show that this is an all-inclusive space that's multifunctional, and it's just a really great place to be.
I think one of the best things, sorry, Ted, just piggybacking off of what you're saying, I think one of the best things with classes, and I have found that, and I know friends who have, we've talked about this before. You don't have to be like some professional CrossFit type of thing. Like, Ted kind of jokes about maybe his, you raised your hand and said your age group or your fitness level. But I think, like you said, that just getting there, getting off your couch and getting there. You don't have to be pouring sweat. Sometimes just go do the workout kind of at your own pace, but you're there with a couple friends, and then maybe you grab a coffee afterwards. I think that aspect of it, some people maybe need a little more of a workout, but I think that aspect of it is something where a place like the wellness center I go to, down here, there's a ton of YMCAs in this area, and the one in our neighborhood is just huge and fantastic. And my wife and I, we love it. Our kids go there and stuff too. So it's very similar to the wellness center is what I'm trying to say. And I think if I was in the area, if I was still in Owasso, I would be a member, no doubt, because the classes alone make it worth it.
Absolutely. And what I was going to add, piggybacking off talking about social media, as you know, Sarah, I mean, it's a whole new world out there. And the more active you are on social media and podcast advertising, and we share a lot of stuff that you guys post and try to keep spreading the word on what's going on at the wellness center. And speaking of that, what's new with equipment? I know my sister, again, back to her, she said that there's a new setup for checking your blood pressure, because there was always just one machine, and a lot of time there was a line to go to that. But what other type of equipment upgrades have you had?
Yeah, so in the last year, we've incorporated new dumbbells. So we saw the need for, we've had a ton of dedicated members attending group fitness classes, and they're progressing, and that's incredible. That's what we want to see. And when you only have like 2 pairs of 15-pound dumbbells, it's not enough to service, our members. So we did get a nice handful of new kind of lower weight dumbbells. So that was something added this last year. We have a rig from Rogue Fitness that we added that's been really popular for people that are looking for a little bit more heavy weightlifting. We've included 2 brand new Lifetime Fitness Arc trainers for a different elliptical option this last year. They're amazing. It gives you a really, really great workout with those. And then we have a couple other pieces that are coming soon that members have voted on. So we don't have them in just yet. They're in the ordering process. So that is something that we're looking forward to, is listening to the members and seeing, hey, you guys are the ones that are using the equipment. What do we not have, or what's something that you're looking for to incorporate into your fitness routine? So we're looking forward to doing that more often, as well as taking that feedback from members and making sure that it gets implemented.
That really was awesome. I heard about that through the grapevine as well, that you guys were putting it up to the members what you guys needed. I thought that was a really nice touch. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit jealous of you that you get to work there every day. Every time I walk in that building, and how beautiful the architecture is, the windows everywhere. I mean, I think about where I work, it's like basically a closet. I mean, don't you think that's one of the almost like the big selling points without even trying, is just how beautiful that place really is? You get to experience it every day.
Oh, yeah, 100%. We have so many people that come in and they're just kind of in awe. I sit out in the lobby with my laptop more often than I'm back in my office, just because it's such a nice atmosphere, and it's so comfortable, and everybody's so friendly when you come in, and they're very respectful if you are trying to work and things like that. So, I mean, people come in and like you said, the atmosphere, the environment, it does to a certain degree sell itself. But
Yep.
I think the cherry on top and the thing that seals the deal every time is our team.
Yep.
Because we're always looking to level up and take that customer service to the next level, and really recruiting people that have a passion for fitness themselves, with also, that friendly, warm, inviting personality. So we get a lot of great compliments on our team, and I'm so grateful for all of them.
Oh, the natural light is beautiful. I have been there
yeah.
a few times. One time in the winter, and it was during a stretch when it was pretty cold, and in Owasso and the snow.
Mhm.
So sometimes it's nice to be inside and you're looking out at the cold, and you can just
For
think
sure.
that you're staying warm in there. Or the other side, if it's that stretch of 95 degrees and you're inside in the nice air conditioning, getting your workout in, that's nice too. Last one for me, and I think we might try and get you out of here. So obviously, this whole thing has basically been a sales pitch for Memorial Healthcare Wellness Center. But what is your guys' main sales pitch? Because obviously, something like your guys' facility does cost more than like a Planet Fitness or some of those gyms where it's that like 0% down and then $6 a month, or whatever they try and sell you on.
Yeah.
Those are nice gyms. You go, you get your workout in, maybe they have showers and a locker room and stuff, but obviously that's your competitor. What's your guys' biggest sell against places like that? It's got to be everything you've talked about, the community aspect and everything, right?
Yeah. It's all of those things, and just the fact that when you look at what you're paying for in a month, it really is a great deal. I think people look at that initial price and it's a little bit of sticker shock because, like you said,
Right.
we are pricier than other fitness facilities in the area. But when you look at all of our staff being certified, licensed, or holding a higher educational degree in the area that they are working to serve you, whether it's group fitness, exercise physiology, personal training, our front desk team has extra customer service training under their belt too. That's something that you're not going to get everywhere. And in addition to those staff also being fitness enthusiasts themselves, that's something that we always want to make sure that we're looking for when we're recruiting for our team. You're getting all of the group fitness classes, you're getting aquatics and some open swim time included in that. For those that haven't been through the locker rooms, they're beautiful.
They're awesome.
The locker rooms are all inclusive. We provide the product, towels. The locker rooms, both men's and women's, have their own steam room. We have a co-ed sauna. All of the fitness equipment. I mean, like I said, we've only been open for about 3 years now, going into our 4th year, and all of that equipment is new. It is regularly maintained. It's something also that we're always looking to upgrade and add new certifications and new members to our team. So it's kind of ever expanding. So when you take all of those things into consideration, $50 a month, it's less than $2 a day for your gym membership, with all of those different amenities included.
Right.
So we're on the same page. We recognize that too, right? That it is a little bit pricier, but we do think that the value that you're getting for that price that you're paying is well worth it. And we're always trying to, like we talked about, take that member feedback into consideration and enhance that experience every chance we possibly can.
Right.
Well, all three of us use the wellness center. We know exactly what you're talking about. The amenities are just awesome, and we really do appreciate you guys being partners with us. We love it, and we really appreciate it, and we appreciate your time too, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been great chatting with y'all tonight.
Well, next up on the podcast, another one of our great friends and partners, Jim Woodworth of Success Group Mortgage and Servicing. He's the founder, and I love this title, Chief Experience Officer. Did you invent that, or is that an actual title?
That's an actual thing, believe it or not. It's not a CEO, it's actually a CXO.
I like it.
But yeah, when we founded the company, the CEO just sounds too normal. And so we just Googled some stuff and
that's awesome.
And came upon that. So
well, I know you got the place really still growing, and now you've expanded to Colorado and Texas. How's that come about?
It's sometimes it's just an interesting thing of how something like that comes about. So we were currently licensed in Michigan, Florida, and California. And once you get to 5 states, it opens up the door to other recruiting possibilities and some networking opportunities. So much like the way I chose my college degree, I looked to see which were the 2 easiest and cheapest states to get licensed in. Indiana was up there too, but just not as fun to travel to. So, so Texas, I've got a lot of family down there. My brother's been down there numerous times, so I have as well over the last year. And I've really just gotten to really fall in love with the Houston area specifically, but I've been to Dallas and Austin a couple times in the last year. So Texas to me was a no-brainer. And then Colorado, we just have some different relationships that we can leverage in Colorado too. So it's going to be fun. I'm excited to get out west. I've been down south, like I said, numerous times over the last year. So still need to get to Colorado here to celebrate our new license.
Maybe a little bit off the wall, but with your developments and a lot of the stuff that you do, you've done so much in, the local community, Owasso, Corona, all that type of stuff. How do you balance kind of the profitability with trying to make a community impact? Because I think about what the stuff you've done here in our area, and I almost am like, man, I'd love to see what you could do in a Traverse City or wherever, Charlevoix.
Yeah.
Do you ever contemplate that?
All the time. But it really, you said it, it's community. I won't say I was born and raised. I mean, I was born and raised here, but I moved, I'm not a lifetime resident of Shiawassee County. I moved to New York right after college and then lived in the Detroit area for a number of years. But I came back mainly because Randy, my brother, started getting me involved in some commercial real estate projects. And I really feel at home in the Owasso area. And so there are some things that we would do from a development standpoint that we wouldn't otherwise do because we are passionate about where we live. We want, we want our families to have a great experience, our friends to have a great experience anytime they come into town. So there is a lot of warning signs, I guess you could say, as a normal developer that we ignore because it benefits us. Right. Sakura, the new restaurant downtown Owasso, is a perfect example. That is a significant investment to redo that kitchen and put the hibachi grill in there and all that kind of stuff. And in return, we won't see for a number of years. So we really are taking a huge risk on. They need to make it, and they need to renew their lease. Otherwise, and it's delicious food. And so it's like, that's the thing. Like we know we need more food and dining options in downtown Owasso. And there's not a line of people, developing spaces. So, selfishly, we want other places to eat. So we'll put our money where our mouth is, so to speak, and try to spur some of that development, even though it may not have been the most profitable, at least yet, venture. It will be. I think it'll be just fine. They're doing really, really well. They have a great product. Their staff is amazing, and it's a really good experience. It's something I think Owasso, really desperately needed.
Right. You mentioned you lived in New York and Detroit area. Jared brought up Traverse City. Traverse City may be a little more of a tourist destination than, Owasso maybe, or Shiawassee County. Obviously, New York and Detroit, bigger markets than mid-Michigan, Shiawassee County. You talked about risk with some of the stuff that you guys do. Does Owasso give you guys or Shiawassee County, not just Owasso, give you like the leeway to take risks and try stuff because maybe the cost, benefit, reward, all of balancing all that stuff maybe isn't as drastic as like a New York City or Detroit, or do you guys have to be a little more like tight with what you do?
What you're asking, it's in some of those bigger markets, it's high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
So I would say,
I think about let's say if you wanted to start like a sushi place or something that was very, very specific niche restaurant, it'd be a little more of a risk in a place like Owasso than maybe like a New York City or Detroit.
Oh yeah. I don't think so. I think Owasso really craves things like that more than you would think. And Foster Coffee to me is the perfect example. Back in 2014, when they approached us about wanting a fancy coffee shop.
Right.
And I'm thinking in Owasso, I'm just it's like it was the same conversation back then. And our community has just fully embraced Foster Coffee.
Right.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's a great spot, but it's for Owasso, it's you go in there and get a coffee and a muffin, it's $10.
Right.
It's not like it's the most affordable place, but it's such a community oriented
right.
space. And again, their staff's amazing. They've done a really good job with hiring people, and they really make you feel special when you go in. When we developed the Airbnbs, the same conversation. Like, really, an Airbnb in Owasso? Who's
Right.
coming to Owasso? Like, you'd be surprised how many people are coming here for a variety of reasons. It's
Right.
whether it's weddings or family reunions or a lot of we still have a lot of industry in our area.
Right.
There's a lot of need for people coming into town for work related things too. So the next thing that I think we really need is a hotel. And it's that would be a very high risk, just because it's very, very expensive to build. It's very, but it would be high. It would be, I think, very profitable, but we're just not at that stage where we can do it. Hotel financing is really, really tough.
Yeah.
And when outside people like a Hilton or Marriott or any of those major companies look at our demographics, it's a scary thing for them to get into, because there's not an airport nearby. It's not from a population standpoint, the city of Owasso is 15,000 people. So it's, from the outside looking in, it's like, well, it's not really a need, but Owasso is really the hub of Shiawassee County, which is 70,000 plus.
Right.
So there's, you'd be surprised, Matt. I think that there's Owasso would and can support a lot of those niche type things that you're talking about, if somebody's willing to take the risk.
Yeah.
And
do it right. You got to do it right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Kind of piggybacking into some of your community projects you're doing, and it's kind of a hot button topic, the Fifth Third project. Maybe give an update to our local listeners on what's going on there with potential of grants or getting that thing finished somewhere down the line.
I think I just lost the signal.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm not. I'm kind of dodging the question. I was just kidding.
I thought it was okay to talk about.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah. I mean,
we can cut right there, Jim, if you don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to, because there's so many people that are talking about it on our behalf that really have no idea what's really going on. So, we started this going down the path of developing that space for residential units on the second, third story back in 2019. So it's been like, we have, big time fatigue with this project. But we've gotten some good news recently where we're kind of re-energized. So there's all sorts of delays. 2020, we had COVID come along that really halted things. Interest rates, you remember when we started the project, we were thinking, rates in the 3s and 4s, and now we're talking 7. That really changes how a project can work. When you're talking about your potential rents and what your construction budget looks like, because we're financing a lot of it. We don't have millions of dollars to spend at that. So we, in 2023, we were awarded a grant for $1.5 million from the MEDC. And when we say awarded, we don't have the money. We haven't gotten the money. It's a grant that's awarded at the completion of the project. And that was contingent on us getting some federal historic tax credits to make the overall project work. So we just got a conditional approval a couple weeks ago from the National Park Service. That may seem weird, but that's who oversees that grant process for tax credits. So we just got our conditional approval a couple weeks ago. We'll go on, by the time this airs, we've probably already gone in front of the Historic District Commission. That's Wednesday, the 17th. I don't know what date it is. This Wednesday. And so we'll have all of our approvals lined up, and I'm meeting with our bankers tomorrow to get this project going. But just to give you an idea, like in 2023, when we first were awarded that grant, I just want to kind of give you an idea of like real-time inflation. And these are a couple different construction companies that have given these bids. So it's not necessarily apples to apples, but the gist of it, you'll understand. So the construction budget in 2023 was $2.9 million. So it was roughly a $3 million project. Our tax credits were taking so long, so our construction company gave us an updated bid in 2024. $4.5 million.
A little bit different.
A little bit different. So, and then we just got another bid here on July 10th, $5.9 million. So, you know, the grant we were awarded was contingent on this roughly $500,000 in tax credits.
Right.
So this $500,000, when people, you know, throw out, free money or whatever, this $500,000 cost
right.
I don't know, a few million.
Right.
Million. So those are some of the challenges we've faced.
Yeah.
And we are still, we're committed to making this happen. Like it's
well, to clarify too, Jared was a little confused, and I can understand that, and especially for people listening out of town. We're basically talking about an old historical building that's one of the anchor buildings in downtown Owasso, right?
Yeah, 30,000 plus square feet of 3 stories, a massive building. Like it's not the biggest on that block because you've got the old Carpenter's Corner building, but it's a huge. Right. It has a huge footprint. It's right on the corner of Washington and Exchange Street, and it wraps around almost a full city.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty big. So, so we'll add 12 apartments, 5 on the 3rd floor, 7 on the 2nd floor. So we're still gonna have challenges, and it's still gonna be like, once we start construction, people are gonna expect it to be done right away. That's just not gonna happen. Right. It's gonna be probably an 18-month long process. Just the facade itself, the exterior brickwork, the intricate details that need to be restored to what it once was. There's not a lot of, believe it or not, a lot of companies that specialize in that type of brickwork.
Right.
Kind of you see a lot of people doing masonry, they're in their 60s.
Right.
It's not a young person's profession by any means. So we continue to see people leave that profession, and not a lot of people enter it. So,
and if you're redoing that building, you want to keep the historic look to it. You don't. I mean, at least maybe in my opinion, you don't want to redo it and make it look like some modern new construction.
Yeah. Right? I mean, it was a beautiful building. So yeah, I want to make sure it looks like that, because I don't think there's anything, anything modern that could replace what it once was. It was an amazing building, and it still is, even though it's got boards on the windows. If you look at it, it's just unique. It looks like crap in a lot of ways too, but if you can kind of look past the poop, it's still beautiful.
Yeah, the bones. So you're what you're basically saying is it's not all glitz and glam what you do. Right, exactly.
And like you said, it's a community thing, because again, if we're looking at ways to so one of the ways we wanted to try to save costs, one of the developers we were talking to, we were talking about them taking an equity position, and to make it more feasible for us. And today, when I was on the call with them, they said, well, based on these returns, I don't think you need us, and I don't think we want to. They're from, out of town. So they're looking at it nobody in their right mind is going to do this. And, here we are, we want to do it because, again, it is a cornerstone building of downtown. And it's a legacy project. It's going to be amazing when it's done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I think most of us would agree. It'd be really cool to have that restored. Last one for me, maybe, and then we might get you out of here. Quick 3 bullet point. Obviously, one of the biggest hot topics anyone talks about, no matter where you live, is the housing market and interest rates and just the crazy cost of houses, no matter where you're at. What's your 3 bullet point pitch on don't wait? If you're in the market to buy a house, do it now. Don't wait. Don't wait for things to drop.
We had the same conversation last year. People were
exactly.
And there were people like, oh, he's out of his mind. Well, guess what? Prices are higher today than they were. We had this conversation last year.
That's right.
And historically, that is the case over a 5-year period. You can take any 5 years, with the exception of, maybe one in the last 100 years, where at the end of that 5 years, real estate was higher than it was when you started. And for us, we look at just the population. Even though the population growth has slowed some, new construction housing has slowed even more over the last 20 years. So you have a large number of people forming new households, getting married, getting divorced, having kids, whatever it is, that there's new household formations, but there's just not enough new houses. Right. And for that reason and that reason alone, we're going to see home prices continue to increase. So if you're on the fence, regardless of rates or whatever it is, it's going to cost more. In my opinion, it's going to cost more in a couple of years than it is today. If we were to see rates drop, you're just going to have more people that can afford it, and when that happens, it drives prices up. So again, for the price of the home, a year from now, if we do this again and you ask me that same question, I'll say, hey, for the last 2 years, we've had this conversation and I was right. So I've been saying that for the last really 4 years. It's just prices are going to continue to go up. There's a lack of supply.
We gave you kind of a hard-hitting Larry King asked question. Larry King asked a question a second ago. Here's an easy one. I mean, you're rocking the Madonna gear. How long until you're kind of the Matt Ishbia of the Madonna basketball program? Has that crossed your mind with NIL?
It has. And it's funny you say that because I just had a conversation with the coach. They just got a really good recruit. He's, in my opinion, he's a program changer. He committed to U of D, and for whatever reason, he decided that he isn't going to stay there, and so he's moving from U of D to Madonna next year. And I asked him, I said, is there anything we can do? Can we, he said, how about some NIL money? I said, well, you need to talk to my partner, Aaron, about that. Yeah. And and I've talked about this before, but, at a program like that, he says, he would not want to do it because it's such a limited amount of people that could get it. You've got one kid that's getting it, and you've got 12 other kids in the program that aren't getting anything. Right. So it creates and that's really a struggle for all of the smaller colleges. It's a big risk. You don't know how that kid's going to pan out. We think he's a program changer. We think he's going to be a really good addition to the team. But how many times have we heard that over the years with any school, with any kid, and it just didn't pan out the way you think it is? So here you are, you've got a locker room full of kids, and they're looking at this kid that's getting however many, and Madonna, maybe a few $100 a month. I don't know. It's nothing crazy, but it still creates that friction of he's getting this and I'm better than him, or, he doesn't, it's just, so I think for schools like that, it's going to be a really, really, it already is. I know coaches like at Oakland University, and there's a Madonna alum that coaches at Georgia Southern, both D1 programs, and they're smaller markets, and they that's a huge challenge for them to navigate the NIL.
To kind of follow up and let you out of here with another sports related question like that, how is Madonna sitting financially overall? Because there's been other closures of like Concordia and Siena Heights. I mean, is there any correlation there?
Well, I mean, those are two schools that were in my conference when I played. They still are in Madonna's conference. So that those closures hit close to home for me. Like, I'm on the board of trustees at Madonna University, so I have a very I know the finances of the university very, very well. So there's some things I can't say publicly, but I can tell you it's a challenge for all of the smaller schools. They're tuition driven. They're not state funded schools. So you're not getting tax dollars. It's all tuition driven and endowment. So the size of the endowment, which a lot of those smaller schools have very small endowments, if any at all. Madonna is very fortunate that we do have a rather large endowment that we can leverage when we need to fund some of those gaps. But it is a challenge for all of those schools. Whether it's Aquinas or Lourdes, I'm just thinking of some of the other schools that are in our conference. It's going to be a tough next couple of years because of that population decline.
No doubt. Well, we'll let you go out of here. But before we do, let our listeners know the best way to maybe reach out to you, get some, advice on mortgages or anything else, any of the other services you provide.
Yeah, the easiest way is just go to our website, www.successgroupmortgage.com. We've got a lot of information on there, and you can reach out to us via the website or call us, but successgroupmortgage.com. And listen to the pod. I think we've got an ad running. So
you do. Absolutely.
Yeah. So listen to the pod. Yeah. And whether you're in Michigan, California, Florida, Texas, or Colorado now, we've got you covered.
Love it.
And I think we'll get an updated ad coming up here soon too, by the way.
Probably should.
All right, Woody. Hey, we appreciate the time, brother.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you all you do.
All right, we now welcome on. We love all of our sponsors. This one's maybe a little bit more near and dear to my heart. I'm just kidding. We love all of our sponsors the same.
Age group. You're talking age group.
What? Say it one more time.
You're talking age group.
Yeah, but we got Mr. Noah Jacobs of Jacobs Insurance in Owasso.
Noah Jacobs.
A few other locations as well. I'm just going to start you off with kind of a fun one, but maybe not. What's something people misunderstand about insurance?
Something people misunderstand about insurance would be probably when you have to use it, that people think it is something you're supposed to benefit from. When you have to make a claim, right, you had a loss, you're not having a gain. Just because you bought insurance doesn't mean all of a sudden you should get all of this new, bigger and better stuff. Now, sometimes it works out. A car gets totaled and you get more back than you thought, and you get to put it down towards a nicer vehicle, what have you. But in general, it's that you have insurance for if something happens, and when something needs to be done, it's not for your benefit. And that is hard to hear, but that is kind of the reality of most of the time. If you have a claim, it's not where you want to be, and it's not a great situation. You might be able to figure it out on the back end to do well, but that's probably one of the biggest misunderstandings of insurance is people think, well, I paid $10,000 over 10 years. I'm due to have a $15,000 claim. Well, that doesn't make the company that insures you any money, right? Unfortunately, that's not the name of the game for them either.
I don't know if this is. Oh, go ahead, Jared.
Okay. You're going to be like, wow, I really had to defer to this dumb question, but I like to imagine it's like a Shark Tank type setup sometimes when people come in trying to get something insured. What obviously that's a little bit theatrical to view it that way, but what is the weirdest thing somebody's tried to insure in your time?
Weirdest things would probably be converted school buses for personal use type. Just kind of more one-off type of things. I don't know. In general, you can have a unique house or an old custom car that you've had a motor rebuilt in or whatnot, but in general, everything is insurable. I've never had to try and insure an airplane or something like that, but there's a lot of those out there too. So I would say probably like a converted bus for someone to use as like a camper or a party bus for their own personal whatever.
Was that Jared that came to you for that?
It was not.
A pedal bar. I was just on a pedal bar this weekend, man. Could that be insured?
Yeah, it can't be cheap though. Imagine so you're serving alcohol, I'm assuming, on this pedal bar that you were on, right? And I assume you had to sign some waivers and a bunch of different stuff. That's probably required by their attorneys, probably required by their insurance company, that everybody that gets on signs whatever. So somebody has a few too many shots, you don't quite know your limit that night, fall off a pedal bar, get hit by something, who's getting sucked into a lawsuit or whatever. So is it insurable? Probably. Is it a great risk? Not really. No.
Right.
Well, Noah, we've talked to you before about the fact that you're a family company and you give out personal service. That's what you're really known for, is the service for your customers. But what goes along with that is, what have you seen in insurance in general that has changed since you've been on board?
Yeah, so I feel like when I came in, companies had done pretty well, at least across Michigan. Obviously, that's where I'm licensed and sell insurance and help service policies and clients. So rates were pretty steady. People were used to, 2% increases, 2% decreases, everything staying pretty level. And then after COVID, the cost of building materials went up, the cost of labor went up for construction people. And there were a couple of years of kind of some unforeseen smaller tornadoes in Michigan, a lot of hailstorm frequency, and companies started to lose money. And now underwriting is tighter, rates are higher, minimum deductibles on homeowners policies are going from 250 or 500 up to 1,000, or a lot of policies have percent deductibles. A lot of this stuff has not been common over the course of time, and it's now becoming a lot more common. So I think just really probably 2023 and 2024, trying to work with people in terms of, hey, we're taking a 25% rate increase. And you're like, okay, yeah, if that's on my renter's policy, that's $200. That's not that big of a deal. But when you have 4 cars and you're already paying $4,200 for your auto, a 25% rate increase isn't a small chunk of change. Right. So just trying to find the middle ground. I think for a long time it was pretty steady. Unless you were having claims or something bad was happening, your premiums were pretty normal. It wasn't something that you were worried about shopping or policies changing in big ways. And over the last 3 years, companies have really changed how they're doing business, what is the new norm. So I feel like everything is kind of slowly shifted, whether that be how much money you're paying, what kind of coverages you have, or what it costs to get some of those extra package coverages that are so typical you see on a homeowner's policy, or extra benefits for roadside assistance or what have you on an auto.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's always changing. Sometimes you hear about insurance like it's all the same, whether you go to one company or the next, but there's always things that are changing, or other things that you guys can offer that different companies can offer. I wanted to ask you about, you mentioned the hailstorms, and I think one of the draws to living in Michigan, we all know it, is there's not like the natural disasters, hurricanes, and
you insure dogs.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you insure dogs?
I don't think we have any pet insurance policies on the books, but that's a thing. People do buy pet insurance.
I was going to say, actually, my employer, you can put your pet as a dependent on your insurance, which is really interesting. But anyway, that's a sidebar. I was talking about, so like natural disasters, down here in North Carolina, on the shores, on the ocean. I always hear people say about it's hard to get your home insured because of hurricanes or natural disasters. You hear about in Florida, sometimes you can't get insurance. You can't get home insurance down there because of the natural disasters and stuff. Do you think it'll ever, or do you ever catch wind of stuff like that in Michigan, like because of hailstorms or maybe the tornadoes or anything? Like you guys you're saying, we're not going to insure this because we know something is going to happen down the line. Is that a thing in Michigan or not really?
Not to the same level as like Florida. Most of those companies, you can buy a very bare minimum home policy, and then you would have to buy a hurricane policy, and you'd have to buy a flood policy, and you'd have to continue to get all this extra stuff to actually insure, your coastal home, because your risk is so much higher. And a lot of those places just end up self-insured, where people just kind of accept the risk that it may be, and hey, I'm going to have to do maintenance. Hopefully my house is hurricane proof enough. A really bad one obviously could do some serious damage, but that we're able to protect our asset and be able to repair something if there were something to happen. So in Michigan, I don't think so. Maybe more on the business side, if there were a certain line of business, like if, for example, restaurants just became a giant loser over and over. Hey, like if you have a restaurant, whatever systems aren't able to keep it up, electric isn't running right, something, one of every 5 restaurants is having a fire every 2 years. Like, right, at some point that would be unsustainable. Now, I don't think we're there. They're just going to see higher rates because, there's grease hanging around different places. They've got 30 million things running in the kitchen at the same time. You got to take care of so much stuff. So I don't think that we'll see it at the same level as that, but there are going to be businesses like 1850, really, nice old style homes are harder to insure because it costs more to repair them if something ever happens. So you're definitely going to see trends towards that, but I don't think you'll ever reach the level of what Florida has to deal with or what certain areas of the Carolinas would.
I gotta apologize. I did a bad job of introing you. I mean, you have a location in Shiawassee, you have a location in Waterford as well. I think back to about a year ago when you hooked up one of my coworkers with insurance, and I think the best thing is I think he was set up in one day, and ever since that day, I haven't heard anything about it. So that makes me think that it's simple, easy. To me, it seems like a no-brainer for anybody living in the Shiawassee area or Waterford. I mean, listen, I deal with the corporate type companies in other ways of my life, like a Huntington Bank, where I'm like, this is hell. With my insurance, it's easy. You're a text away or a phone call away. I would assume for most of your clients. Don't you think that's like the easiest sell is like, you don't understand, like I can get stuff done for you. Like we have the personal touch, and it's just as simple as a phone call away. I can start working for you. Maybe I sold it for you, but I mean, that to me, that's when I think of Jacobs Insurance, I really do think of how easy it is and the family connection and the community connection that it really has.
Yeah, I think the best part about what we do, and probably the biggest lesson I've taken from my dad to this point, obviously my boss, is if you kind of a version of the golden rule, like in business, do for others as you would do for yourself, or always like make that recommendation, give that option. And that relationship part of it, like you said, Jared, hey, I got a quick question. Let me shoot an email over. I'll get something back really quick. I don't have to call a 1-800 number and sit on hold for 5 minutes. And, I know someone's going to give me an honest answer. Someone's going to be able to find, what do I need to change? What do I have to do?
For example, like I'm an idiot. I was signing up for this apartment. I didn't know I needed renter's insurance. So I'm like, day of signing, I'm sitting in the lobby. They're like, oh, you need renter's insurance. Text you. Hour later, I didn't even have to leave the lobby. I'm already set up, and I get my keys an hour later. It's like stuff like that. I like that's important.
Yeah, no, it's cool, and the relationship part of it, because like we're sales, but I'm not a cold caller, and I mean most of this stuff is because of my dad, my uncle, my grandpa before me. I kind of get to learn it and do it in a different way, where it's not like hit numbers, hit quota. It's more so tend to your field is kind of how we talk about it. Like we want retention. You want to know what's going on with Jared as his life changes. Like when he buys a house, we want to insure the house. If he gets a different vehicle, we want to know those people and have that kind of that form of trust. And it's the best way to keep people coming back. And it's also the best way for us to be a sustainable business, rather than like, obviously we don't get to set rates, or the companies that we work with do, but if it was like a get you in the door and then the next time you have to talk to me, I'm like, nope, talk somebody else. Nope, talk somebody else. Like I've never want to feel like the bigger, like I'm too big to talk to somebody. And I think that's the most fun part is I love talking to people when they're looking at buying a new house, or they're considering like, is it time to get a new car? What would this cost for insurance? And hey, do you have an opinion? Or, hey, this is what I wanted. This is what I would recommend, but here's an option. Like being able to kind of give you your own authority, but have you be a little bit of a student of it. I think that just goes along with doing for others as you would do for yourself, right? Like I want to have why would I buy this, right? If that deductible cost me an extra $30, like why would I spend $30 more? Like, well, here's why I see it this way, right? You would feel silly if something happened and now you spent $500 more because something happened and you didn't like, oh, well, I saved the $30 6 months ago. Like, well, do you really want to do that? So some of the opportunity cost of different stuff, but yeah, I just love working with people, from Jared to somebody more like Ted, who's like, hey, I'm hanging out and I don't necessarily need to get a bunch of new cars, and I get pet insurance or what have you. But yeah, just it's really fun to work with people. And probably like the coolest thing for me is every now and again, someone will be, what was your name? And I'll tell them, they'll be like, oh, I knew your grandpa. He was a great man. And like, I unfortunately never really got to know my grandpa. He passed when I was like 5 months old, but I like to think that like he looks down at what we're doing and kind of smiles and is like, this is why I took a leap and like bought an agency, as someone he was more of a construction guy. He did paving in the summers and was like, well, I want to do something that's going to be better for my family, was essentially what it came down to. And I like to think he looks down and kind of smirks when we're doing our job every day and enjoying like life with each other and being able to spend time with family when it is important to us.
Well, I'll tell you what, we highly recommend anybody in our area or even outside of our area to get a hold of Jacobs Insurance Agency for that personal touch. Before I let you go, I got to ask you a sports question. All right.
Please do.
How'd it go? How'd it feel being the varsity track coach there at Owasso? How'd the first year go?
Yeah, so obviously a big Corona podcast, and I'm a big Corona person too. So it was really weird. It was really unique kind of starting, but once the season gets underway and you're racing, it's just, you love sports. You love the competition. You love seeing kids push themselves to do their best, learn something new about a race, a relay, whatever it is, a field event, and seeing kids grow throughout the season. Pretty special to be able to like compete against Corona and coaches that had coached me, kids that I've gotten to work with. Like my brother is going to be a senior this year at Corona, so it was cool to still be able to watch him. And I think one of the awesome parts of track is kind of the high tide rises all boats. So if the other teams are doing well, normally it means your team is going to be doing better too. Like everybody kind of pushes each other to be their best. Obviously you want to win at the end of the day, but it was cool. And once you kind of get down to the nitty gritty, it's just competing and watching people do their best. And you just want to see everybody perform their best. So you hope yours is above that. But it was definitely unique to start being at Owasso. Kind of felt like, why would I be coaching at Owasso? But I really thoroughly enjoyed it. The other coaches were super welcoming. The district was really welcoming to me, and everybody from Corona, I think there was a little bit of sadness. Like I kind of always saw myself coaching at Corona, but with the opportunity that had presented itself and not knowing in 5 or 10 years if an opportunity comes up at a Corona, like they have great coaches in place right now that seem like they're not going anywhere. If that call happens in 5 years, can I say yes? Is that something I'm going to be able to do? Are my priorities going to be changed? So that was what it came down to, but I really loved it. I mean, I'm sure just as you and being in the booth, Ted, like you just love seeing good sports, like, and that's like track and field is kind of where my heart lies, obviously. So I loved being a part of it and being in the middle of the season rather than kind of being a fan and a spectator. It was really awesome.
Well, nice job getting the first year under your belt, and look forward to many more years in the coaching ranks for you, along with your duties at Jacobs. Before we cut you off here, let our listeners know the best way to reach out to you, find out what's going on, get their insurance questions answered.
Yeah, so you can check out our website anytime, jacobsinsurance.com. Pretty simple there. That'll find anything you need. You can put in information to get a quote request, to have somebody call you, to find a number to call us, or an email for any of our staff members. If you did talk to somebody, you can reach out to me anytime. It's just first name Noah@jacobsins.com. I'm happy to help, happy to answer the phone and see what we can do to help out. You can follow our social medias. I'm not going to say that they're super prolific in sharing anything per se. There's a picture of Gary every once in a while that goes up on there, some birthdays and stuff, but it's not anything flashy there. So really just our website or stopping in and saying hello. So do appreciate you guys. As always, it's always fun to listen to prep spotlights throughout the year and follow different teams making runs is really my favorite part, whether it's somebody that's been at games and Jared's expertise from the sideline at the Breslin Center working in trucks, or, Ted following along and watching Lynchburg basketball or Chesaning football or Corona football, whatever it is cool to hear you guys support our community. And I think that's, one of the reasons I love the podcast, and one of the reasons that I feel like we're a great partner is we have the same kind of goals, and what we're trying to do is help better the people around us and spread a little joy.
Amen. Sure. Noah, we appreciate that, and keep an eye out on the Freeland basketball team this winter. All right.
I will absolutely do that.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for the time, Noah.
Is you weren't an athlete back when this podcast was a thing, man. You could have filled up some prep spotlights right around the track season.
I was going to say,
absolutely.
with the amount of love that Trace Tokar was getting from Ovid Elsie, I mean, Noah Jacobs would have been highlight every week.
You're 5 years too early, man.
Yeah. It is what it. Well, the Argus is different now too. I mean, I know you guys talked to Jerome, so the landscape is ever changing, and you guys are coming up, and Trace Tokar got to be the beneficiary of that. So 4-time pole vault state champ. He's the real deal. Congrats to Trace.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks again, Noah.
Yeah. Appreciate it, boys. Noah.
All right, guys, that was a fun one. It was good talking with our partners as always, and they got a lot of good stuff going on. We'll mix in a few more next week, along with our sports talk. But we want to give out some special thanks to Memorial Healthcare's Wellness Center. Again, the best health club gym in our area, and you heard Sarah talk about why in our little chat. Also want to thank our other great partners, AZee Branding Solutions, Jacobs Insurance Agency. We talked with Noah. Kori Shook and Associates, Nelson House Funeral Homes, Rivals Taphouse and Grille, Success Group Mortgage and Servicing. You can tell Woody over there knows what he's talking about. Also, the Shiawassee County Fair and ALS of Michigan. Peace and love, everybody. Be kind, and thanks for listening.